Welcome to Between Two Chairs, Demystifying Commercial Real Estate, the podcast that brings you the latest insights and trends on the South Florida commercial real estate market, with your hosts, Fernando Arencibia Jr. and Jennifer Woolman. In each episode, we dive into the world of commercial real estate and break down complex concepts to make them accessible for everyone. Whether you're a real estate professional, a curious investor, or just interested in the South Florida market in general, Between Two Chairs is the podcast for you. So pull up a chair and join us.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Between Two Chairs. My name is Fernando Arencibia, and with me, as always, is the ever grateful Jennifer Woolman. Jennifer, say hi.
Hello, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. I wish there was like a Thanksgiving song.
I'm sure there is. You could probably Google it.
I know, but come on. It's probably not that good.
Turkey and, yeah.
It's probably not that good. So today is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We are in that start of the season, even though I think we're starting the season at midnight on October 31st. The moment that Halloween is over.
Yes.
Everybody takes down their Halloween decorations.
And they put up their
And immediately
holiday.
we're already in holiday mode.
We just skip Thanksgiving.
We skip a lot of things, apparently.
I saw nutcrackers. I saw all the Christmas, all the lights went from purple
everybody's ready.
to white.
Everybody's ready. We were walking
November 1st.
We were walking through South Miami, and they already had all of their decorations up. And then yesterday, I saw a couple of Bucks trucks get off on that downtown Dayland area. They were they were decorating the whole thing, boxes and boxes of decorations.
Yeah, crazy. Yep, we're
everybody's
just going to skip
ready.
Thanksgiving, but not here at Between Two Chairs.
No,
for me,
this is our favorite.
For me, Thanksgiving is my favorite time of year because it involves nothing but great food, family, friends, and gratitude. So all the things that I love. And so earlier this year, I read an article by Melissa Kirsch. She's the deputy editor of Culture and Lifestyle at the New York Times. And her article was called The Chain of Gratitude. And as soon as I read it, I sent a copy to my bestie and my kids. And I'm like, okay, this is perfect for our Between Two Chairs Thanksgiving episode. In the article, she talks about the consistent, and I quote, the quote, consistent and intentional effort to acknowledge the good things in your life and how important it is for our health, emotional, and mental well-being. And we often talk about mindset and perspective on this podcast and how important it is, not just in everyday life, but especially in real estate, brokerage, and relationships that are created. So what I found super interesting about this article was that she challenges us to take gratitude further than just being grateful for something and to trace what you're grateful for back to its origin. And
that's interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason that really resonated with me is because, as you know, I'm super fascinated by the interconnectivity of everything. And if you ascribe to the 6 degrees of separation theory, then for me, that was super fun. So now, as most of you know, I love running, and usually I start my runs with what I'm grateful for, and then I let my mind take off from there. For example, I'm grateful for you, partner.
Oh, I'm grateful for you, partner.
But when I read this article just saying, I'm grateful for Fernando, It seems to fall flat, because she takes you on this example. So
can you explain a little bit for those that don't know, what is that? You said that if you prescribe to this 6 degree of separation theory.
Right. So the 6 degree of separation theory is just that we are all connected by 6 people.
Degrees of the, right.
Like
yeah.
our next connection is only 6 people away from somebody we know. And that 6th degree of separation has probably gotten a lot smaller with social media and, social media platforms and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's super cool. I have so many examples. I remember one time I was at a listing, and Drew Kern, who I worked with at the time, came in and said, "What are you doing marketing a map of Panama? Why do you have a map of Panama?" And I told him, I said, "Oh, well, I have this listing in Panama for sale, this island for sale." And I said, "How did you recognize that as Panama?" And he said, "My wife was from there. My wife was born there." And I squirreled that away and didn't think anything of it. And then the next time we're at the office, I'm like, "That's super interesting. I thought maybe my dad would know her because he was raised in Panama, but I realized she's much younger than my dad." Again, squirrel that information away. We are at the Thanksgiving table one year, and my dad mentions somebody in passing, and the name sounds kind of familiar, but I'm taking away the dinner dishes and bringing out the pumpkin pie or something to that effect. And then the next week, we're in the office, and I go, "Drew, what is your father-in-law's name? Because I think I heard my dad mention it." So sure enough, he gets on the phone, and he calls his father-in-law on Zoom, on speakerphone, and he says, "Hey, I've got somebody in the office who thinks you might know her dad." And he's like, "What's her name?" "Her name is Jennifer Woolman." And I said, "My maiden name is Chandler." And both the dad and Drew go, "Robert Chandler?" So Drew knew my brother because they were close friends with, it was so mind-blowing. And his father-in-law was my dad's best friend and on the on the baseball team in Panama. So that's kind of an example of that 6th degree of separation. But going back to this article, where it comes into play is, so if you take that step a little bit deeper, so I'm grateful for Fernando, kind of basic, but then you add color and flavor and go, okay, well, how did we meet? And I go back to our service together at the Miami Association of Realtors, and we were at the planning conference, and Anita Ketcheldor and I were at the bar at the end of the day, kind of going over everything, and you came in, and I can't remember who you're with, and you did this funny skit where you go, "I can skip and I can jump," and I was like, okay, that stood, I don't know, do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
It's not out of brand.
It's not out of brand. But then I started thinking about, okay, well, how did Fernando get into the association? So then I thought of Chip, who I served with, and then how grateful I am for Chip and our relationship. And then I thought, well, how did I get on the board? And I thought of Barbara Tria. So anyway, you can go down kind of that memory gratitude lane.
That. That's a great idea, for sure. I will tell you, oftentimes, and, we speak to people about Miami being a big city, but really being a small town. And I think that those 6 degrees of separation, to your point, are probably 3 degrees, 2 degrees. It's really incredible how many times during the year you connect with people that you didn't know that you were already connected to through those degrees of separation. And I think that's incredible. I really like the idea of going down to the origin of that gratitude, because it does allow you to then be grateful for all the other steps that got you there. And it's really interesting because sometimes we're grateful in retrospect. Right? Something bad happens to us that we thought was, probably one of the worst things to happen. And then out of that, another opportunity, like they say, God closes a door and opens a window. You never know how that trail leads you to something that is truly good in your life, and sometimes we are grateful more in retrospect than we are in anticipation. And I think one of the things that you mentioned at the beginning is about how important a gratitude mindset is to success in life. And we're talking about not only personal success, but business success. And it's really interesting because I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the idea that if you do not define what success is to you, somebody else will define it for you, because people are always selling this idea of what it is to be successful, and you have to really define, what that is. And I think that aside from that definition, you have to also make a decision as to who you are and how you want to treat yourself, how you want to treat others, and how you want to welcome the day, as they say, right? I have found that having an attitude of gratitude is incredibly impactful in business, because a big part of what we do is, if you really think about it, we act as magnets. And we attract, and your mind, as they say, thoughts have power, and your mind creates, what you say and how you act. And that, in essence, creates a magnet that attracts like-minded people. And I don't think anybody wants to necessarily always be around someone who's complaining about all of the things and all of the ills that you go through, because, we all have a cross to bear. We all have issues that come up in our lives, surprises. Having a mindset of gratitude, I think, is very impactful, because it impacts the way that you talk to people. It impacts the way that you approach your work. It impacts the way that you approach your relationship with the people that you love. And so instead of being grateful in retrospect, which also serves as a powerful reminder, and it is good to be grateful in retrospect, it's also, I think, very important to be grateful in anticipation, like to anticipate the things that are ahead for you, even those that are challenges that are nothing but hiding the opportunities that are in front of you. And I think that is the power of gratitude.
Well, and I also think, like, for me, I'm very much an in the now person. I know sometimes I drive my daughter and my family crazy because I don't spend too much time on the past or too much time on the future.
Poor Carlos, you don't even want to make a list as to what you want to do on vacation. I'm not,
I know.
Poor guy.
I know, he's already
God bless you, Carlos.
For a December 31st trip. I will pack probably December 31st, 4 hours before my flight. But so anyway, so the gratitude in the now too, to me, is super important in brokerage, because as many people who have years and years of experience either investing or representing buyers and sellers in real estate say that, look, the biggest lessons they learned from their failures, not from sitting in a class or not from the things that they did right. But when you're in a failure, and this is to your earlier point about how a lot of times gratitude is in retrospect, you can change your mindset by sitting there going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this deal is dying. I can't believe this is going wrong. I can't believe I spent so much time, and quickly change your mindset to be grateful. I'm grateful I had the opportunity. What can, try to save it. I'm not saying give up and just let it go, but if you look at it from a gratitude perspective, that you had this opportunity, that you were able to put this deal together, that you were able to bring these people together, whatever it is, that can change your perspective in the moment, and maybe you can save it. Yeah. But even if you can't save the deal, at least having that perspective is going to help you get through that down period a lot faster than if you just dwell on the down, because now you can say, okay, grateful I had this. Now let me take a deep dive into the lessons that this taught me, right? And every loss is a major lesson, right?
No doubt. And I think one of the things that most people have a hard time, including myself, we all go through this, accepting, is that that success doesn't teach you nowhere near the things that you learn through failure.
Correct.
And the reality is that sometimes you lose that deal. The lessons that you learn are so impactful that then they allow you to do or be better for someone else, right? Other deals that come into play where the lessons that you learn from this perceived failure, let's say, some people say there is no failure, there's only lessons, right? And there's success. Mm-hmm. But the lessons that you extract are going to be so impactful for the next deal. and the next deal, right? And sometimes when you look back, just like you look back in retrospect about how we met and how was I in that place to be able to meet him, it's the same thing. You look back at your deals and you're like, oh man, what I learned here has helped me in here tremendously, and this is where we always have a conversation with clients about valuing experience. That's where experience comes into play. It's a lot of little lessons and a lot of painful lessons that you learn along the way that allow you to just continue to be better and better and be a better guide. So, those things are very important. I wanted to say, just to share, because we're sharing today about gratitude, that just to finish the point about this podcast that I was listening to and the gentleman that was speaking about defining success, his definition of success, and he says, it's my definition. I'm not asking you to accept it. I'm not asking you to like it or not like it. You could take it, you could ignore it. But his definition of success is that the people that know me best love and respect me more. And he says, that's the way I define success 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And that was his, that the people that knew him best, that they loved and respected him more than they did before they knew him. And so that, that's an interesting guiding principle. It has nothing to do with money, right. It has nothing to do with, exterior things, but think about how impactful of a mindset that is. I want to be really good to the people that know me best. I want my word to matter. Mm-hmm. I want to be responsive to them. I want to be accountable. And I just loved all that part. And I wanted to share it because I think it is related to having a gratitude mindset. It is related to, I think how you define success also instructs how you treat others.
Right. And that ties into a little bit into the episode we had last week with Andrea Davis and our discussion on the American dream, because again, the American dream, like success, is different for every person and up to them to define. Exactly. So anyway, this is a short episode because it's Thanksgiving and we got to get back to friends and family and turkey and cranberry and football. Absolutely. So be grateful for the people and experiences you are having today, because I can guarantee that in future years, when you express how grateful you are for something or someone, it will lead you back to today. And we are grateful to you, our listeners and colleagues, and we trust that this Thanksgiving you also have much to be grateful for. So Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving, partner.
So listen, this is Happy Thanksgiving, partner. Thank you. Absolutely a short episode, but we wanted to not lose out on the opportunity to say thank you to you guys for listening. We also wanted to say over the last couple of weeks, Jennifer and I have had separate independent experiences where people surprised us by saying that they love the podcast and they listen to it. We always are a little surprised by that, because you really don't know who's listening. And some of the people that have done that and said that to us, we just want you to know how you kind of fill up our energy. You reload us. It's almost like recharging your phone. You recharge us, because this has been a labor of love for us. We want to do it consistently, and we want to deliver value.
And I don't let Fernando check analytics
anything. We don't
so
check
we're
analytics.
Clueless. We're flying blind here, people.
Absolutely. We are unlike our business where we like to be data driven.
Exactly.
In this is a labor of love, and we feel like we're just depositing in a bank, and we continue to make that deposit, and we know if you follow the law of the reciprocity, everything comes back. But we really appreciate those comments. They mean the world to us. And we always call each other and we let them know, hey, by the way, I met somebody and she said that she loved this and he said that he loved it. So that's just wonderful. I want you to know that I am, partner, very grateful to you for accepting me as a partner with all of my faults and all of my limitations, and being able to forge a path ahead together. And I'm really looking forward to the next year ahead and the many, many years ahead. So here's to our listeners, and here's to you, my partner. Very, very grateful. We also want to say, before we leave, we have an incredible support team that is made up of our editor, Karina, who does an amazing job in doing the audio editing. She is way overqualified for this job. I know she's doing it also as a labor of love. And we hope, Karina, that you also are getting something out of, listening to all of these podcasts. Our switchblade of a human being that is Jessica, who does, she does everything for us, and she's always ready to take on new challenges. We really appreciate it.
And most importantly, she remembers to push record.
That's right. She remembers to push record. She puts it in my calendar. She reminds me to show up on time. All of those things. And one of these days, we're going to get one of those three right. I promise. I also would like to thank our marketing person, Giselle, who's doing a great job in putting all these clips together and putting them on Instagram and our YouTube channel. And, we really want to welcome you to visit those channels, to follow. We're even on TikTok. So, we're branching out.
And to our amazing guests who
Absolutely.
always teach us something when we sit down and have conversations with them.
Yeah, the time they take with us and all of that, it's really impactful, and we are incredibly grateful for it. So God bless you guys. All the best, and happy Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.
Bye, partner.